Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your every Wednesday livecast brought to you by your friends at Frontline Gaming. I am your new host, just for this week, although I made sure my camera settings were adding enough redness to my face that you might mistake me for one Seth Oster. I'm joined here by kicker Kalozdi, the one and only.
What is happening, people?
And we're going to bring up some excellent stuff. We got an amazing guest tonight.
Yes, we
do. Never hear from him.
Somebody.
He's
totally
basically a mystery.
Yeah, no one knows this man. Never heard of him before.
Adam Camalleri.
Yeah. The famous Australian name known around the world. But before we bring him in, Val, as we like to do on our show, we have to share some hobby progress here. Can we show off my painting chops here? Can we show this off?
I got to. At least like rub my back or ask me how my day was or something. Like
how
was
your
dive
day?
right into it. Huh?
I want to show off my stuff because I have a huge ego.
Of course you want to show it off. All right. Fine. I'll press the button. Right. Boom. Hobby progress.
There we go. We always show these models that are like works in progress. There we go. The finished army completed that was taken to Cruise Hammer. My beautiful Eldar. Now, if you are listening to our podcast, you should be watching us live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can get these cool visual elements. But if you're in your car and you're missing out, you're not only missing out on the visual elements, you're missing out on the chat, and we have a lovely chat tonight. Hi, folks. We love you guys. Oh, there we go. And Val is throwing on his glasses because we are just that cool tonight. Thank you so much.
Oh.
What have you been up to, Val? I believe you've had a little bit of a hobby progress going on as well, too, right?
Well, as you may or may not know, I've been delving deep into the land of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It is an abandoned and twisted landscape. I had one of the first armies I picked up off of a friend was actually an army, ironically enough, abandoned by a Canadian team member at the ETC and picked up by a good friend of mine, Caleb Edwards, and he sold it to me later, and it's Lizardmen. And the Lizardmen, I'm not sure if you're aware, but they have a unit called, also known as the Seraphon to all the kids out there.
No. We're sticking with Lizardmen because you know what? Lizardmen are. Oh, wow. Those are sexy. So those are not the sexy ones.
These are chameleons. Well, don't blow the lead, buddy. I'm telling a story. I'm shaping.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you. You.
I'm out of focus, but I'm focused. All right. So we've got here chameleon skinks. This is still the model you can buy from Games Workshop. I had 18 of them as part of the army that I bought off that was abandoned, left somewhere.
Are they metal or are they resin?
They're probably fine cast at this point. Some of them were metal that I had. So I sold them all. Wound up flipping those for some Chaos Dwarfs. Anyway, very nice. So now I have printed, with the magic of 3D printed, these jungle warriors, these skink assassins. These are sculpts designed by a group called Last Sword Miniatures, and printed them up. Had to rescale them down because it's fantasy, so it's 28 millimeter with a 32 millimeter head, and so yeah, these guys are really, really cool. I absolutely love them. I think they're really cool. Those
are sexy, dude. I have always liked Lizardmen. I love skinks. I have multiple boxes of skinks, and guess what? I don't have a Lizardman army. I just like freaking skinks. And the chameleon skinks were always the coolest, but the models were kind of lacking. These are really, 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 really sweet.
Yeah, that's three. There's 5 different ones. There's a couple actually different places that are doing this sort of like lurking chameleon skink style stuff. So I think you can find them. You can buy them on Etsy or whatever, and even some of them sell like full on resin miniatures through places like Frontline Gaming, so it doesn't have to all be this futuristic 3D printing stuff. However, this guy is one of my favorites. It is a Kadai Destroyer. He is a model for the Chaos Dwarfs, which never actually existed. So you needed a proxy, but this is a model from Lost Kingdoms. And
for people
I've been
that are
putting this everywhere because I love them
don't
so
have
much.
a visual. Is this a giant cow? What is what is this?
So from I'm pretty sure like bulls, centaurs, that kind of stuff is a big like image of the Chaos Dwarves. So this guy's a charging like really bedazzled, bejeweled bull. But he's a fire demon, so I'm going to get the airbrush out. In fact, I already have. I primed this guy with an airbrush, and I'm hopefully going to make him just look like a big, red, angry bull on a lava base, which is also 3D printed. Incredible.
Technology.
Right?
Technology. Well, I think we should probably bring in our guest right now because he needs to update us on a certain chair statistic, I believe. Can we bring him in, Val?
Sure. So the one, the only Adam Camilleri.
Wow, there he
Get your
is.
finger out of your nose, pal.
Yeah,
Right in there real fast. He picks himself. He's number one.
Yeah,
Well,
so
his country's number one, blowing the lead.
if you don't know who Adam Camilleri is, just stop listening to our show. You are no longer welcome here.
Stop listening to this show and listen to another show on our network, Thursday Show, where you can hear Adam Camilleri every single week. You can also hear him on The Art of War Down Under, a podcast that he has just been nattering on and on and on and on and on
talking.
For how long now? 2 years?
Jeez.
Yeah. He also is on. He took over my warm chair. I handed the baton to him on Forge the Narrative, where he is matched up against perhaps the only other man who can suck more air out of a room, Paul Murphy.
We're not burning any bridges today. Adam, thank you for coming online and watching and joining us and being part of the Signals from the Frontline family tonight. Adam, I believe there's a very important chair statistic that needed to be covered regarding how many chairs. What's going? Fill us in here. We were not at the WTC, unfortunately, so.
Mm-hmm.
Construction. The chairs at the venue were not equipped for the husky, rotund, and powerful set of gentlemen of our great worldwide community. To that end, there was so we say a graveyard, a chair graveyard, just like piles of dead chairs, like strewn across this battlefield. It's almost like we were playing like, let's break the. Remember what's the meme about Bart breaking the chair on Homer's back? It's almost like we were just like playing that on repeat, just breaking chairs on each other's backs. But this was just dudes sitting on chairs in normal human ways.
I think for a little more context, at that ETC, you had a combination of two things. One of which was a very large stockpile of lawn chairs that had been sitting in the sun since roughly the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
and
I'll do it.
And then fall of Yugoslavia happened. There was the Balkan War, and those chairs just were in the sun.
Stayed there the
whole time.
Do you remember those? You know those aviation graveyards that you see from the USSR, where there's just like
same
rows
thing. Croatia,
of old bombers?
it's lawn chairs. Yes,
it's just lawn chairs.
So this stockpile of Soviet lawn chairs then made their way to Croatia, Zagreb's like sports complex, and which was, I think, for the most part, an ice rink. So it was a very concrete floor, and the combination of no real traction. I wouldn't necessarily even blame the largeness of 40K players on this one. They were kicker-sized guys were eating shit. It was pandemonium. You would hear you'd hear a gunshot go off, and then like a sack of potatoes hit the ground. Everyone would laugh, and this would happen constantly.
It really was. It was. You think about the amount of time you hear a wah at like a big like 500 player event, so to speak. It's kind of like that, except everybody like yelling out taxi or and some dude just like planting timber straight up tailbone to the ground.
So and also as some people might know my backstory, that ETC was an uninterrupted series of traumas that I continue to work on with my counselor. So when I spotted this photo of, as you can see in the bottom left of that top photo, an Australian, for some reason, setting up the WTC. They always, I guess they're just jet lagged. They're in their
tank tops, setting up, moving heavy stuff.
What
I
we
was
do,
immediately
boys.
overwhelmed by the fact that these same lawn chairs, it appeared, were being deployed to support the WTC, and I thought that this was sheer madness. However, Adam, how did it go? How did the chairs hold up?
I'm sad to say, not even one broke.
Oh, that's so
I mean, I was messing around on a couple of them, just
see if
you
it could happen,
seeing what was going down. And we had some large lads in attendance. I even posted a comment being like, with almost a week of gaming underway and 0 chairs gone, do we have to start trying to break these on like Mark Perry? Do we have to just do we have to just get judges just lined up, just whack for whack?
Yeah.
You know, you see guys doing a rail spike, and you got 4 guys in a ring just going dung 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 dung. I was gonna get 4 judges together with Mark just lying down and just seeing how long it took.
Now we
Mark
are
was up
getting
for
ahead
it.
of ourselves.
We were up for it.
We're getting a little bit ahead of
Yeah.
ourselves with the WTC stuff, but just one other thing I noticed with Mark Perry, wearing flip-flops. Do you think maybe that might have affected the team's performance?
May have, yeah. His full Hobbit powers were not on display.
He was not one with the ground. I really would like to get to know more about why, when I've seen the man at a urinal barefooted, what it was about the floor in Belgium that made him
felt
feel
wrong.
like this
I've
time.
heard things about Belgium,
time,
and you
I
know,
will
today,
tell you.
I'm
I will
wearing
tell
shoes.
you what it was. I will tell you what it was. The entire town is cobblestones.
That's a smooth surface.
No, it's not.
A flip-flop, you're going to twist an ankle. It's going to slip. Cobblestone.
Dude, it was
Cobblestone
messy.
is
I was
rounded
walking
edges.
around with
cobblestones will screw you up, dude. Don't bash the cobblestones.
I mean, Mechelen, the town in Belgium, is actually like picture beautiful. It is a gorgeous town. Beautiful food, beautiful scenery. I climbed up the clock tower in the middle
French
of town
fries
and
and
got
mayonnaise.
I got the full.
Were you in Bruges? Was it in Bruges?
No, it's called Mechelen. It's about half an hour outside Brussels, and you go up this it's like 550 stairs. I went up there with Jack Harpster and Sean Naden, and you get this full beautiful 360 panorama shot. You can see Antwerp, you can see Brussels, you can see a bunch of beautiful forest from there. It's absolutely a gorgeous little town. But man, jogging and I went for a jogs 4 nights out of the 8 that I was there.
Oh, humble brag there, but cool.
And then walking.
Kicker went for a jog
through,
like while you were telling the story. So
yeah,
exactly right.
I just did 6 miles. Come on.
And walking around town, in addition, man, my knees, my back, my feet, I got calluses on my feet from cobblestone. So yeah, 100%. That's why he was.
All right. This is normally a much more structured show. So now, Kicker, I'm hosting.
Yeah. You're hosting. All right.
I'm hosting. All right. We're segueing.
You are the director
abruptly.
of the FLGN.
Yes, the creative director, I believe was the title. In absentia recently. But nonetheless, we are boldly moving into the future here.
Yes.
Kicker, there's a picture of something that, and I don't know the context, so why don't you tell us?
We need to talk about some industry news here. Is that cool?
Industry news?
Yeah, let's talk about industry news, and then we'll talk about that. You've got that up there. We're going to talk. Okay, no, we're going back. Industry news, people. We got to talk about a few things that have just dropped. Most importantly, at least to me, is the new Voltan, the League of Voltan. These are basically the squats, the new HQ character. This guy looks awesome. I am so stoked. But not as only, yes, it's a cool model. Yeah, he's on 2 tactical rocks because that's what you do nowadays. But what's cool, though, is there's a lot of different build options for this one model. We're getting multiple weapons, multiple heads. That's a lot of fun. He's not one of these single pose, you can only give him a power sword and a bolt gun or something. You can give him quite a few things, which is nice to see. It's kind of refreshing.
Looks like a bit like a Space Marine Captain in Gravis armor here. I'm feeling
like
those vibes.
A smushed Space Marine Captain in Gravis armor, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I thought those looked really cool. I don't mind a Hobbit version of that. So let's just go with it. But I think
Adam, what's your position on the League of Voltan?
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm not exactly enamored, but I'm not against or disliking them actively. I'm gonna hold off judgment until I see the models in person.
Yeah.
What I do love is that they had the opportunity to do nice small profile silhouette sculpts, and then they're just chucking everything on a rock.
Yeah,
just cool. Let's have a smaller race, and we'll make them the same size as everybody else via dint of tactical rock. Yeah. Can we stop with the tactical rock? I'm done. You
must be this tall to be an HQ character in the world of Warhammer, so you have to put on rocks. I think the one thing we got to kind of share is because I got some inside info. League of Voltan are coming sooner than you think, so get ready, people. They're right around the corner.
Spilling the beans. He's got that Miniac connection.
I didn't say anything. Witch Hunter set. We have this crazy Witch Hunter set that dropped. It has an ogre in it. It has 2 dogs because everyone likes dogs. It's got a dude with a medieval grenade launcher thing. Does anyone actually play Underworlds? I don't know. But the models, every time they drop, I'm I kind of want to buy the set. I have 3 or 4 Underworlds war bands that are just sitting in the box waiting for their time to shine eventually. Have you guys played Underworlds? Is it competitive? Is it fun? Is it got anyone in the world playing it? I don't know. It's just it's conversion fodder, right?
I've played one game of
Oh, okay, cool. Thoughts?
And it was at the launch, and I liked it. I thought it was good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You know, if fantasy was still a thing and these models were made
It
for
is.
fantasy,
It is a
I
thing.
would have. But you know, if it was still a supported game, I would. And
It is
these models were
supported.
part
I
of that
support
line.
it.
I would have many of these warbands by now,
Yeah.
and I would be playing with these models.
I mean,
Yeah.
these would be amazing as like a specialist squad and fantasy if it exists.
Mordheim.
Oh,
Where did that come from?
Like, Mordheim is actually, I think, where like the Underworld's repurposing works best for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is a very good call. These for the most like the issue is that like because of where fantasy left off, it was like in the mid rescaling of Games Workshop miniatures.
Yeah.
So like that was when like the Blood Angels came out, that Tac Squad came out. They had the ripped abs and they were like a little bit taller than everybody else.
The Death Watch as well had exactly their whole new line. They were definitely chunkier.
They were much bigger, but they were also a lot later. Like those guys come out in like 16 or 17, I want to say, something like that. Because I was playing when the Death Watch came out.
Well, yeah, I was playing fantasy. Well, I was playing fantasy when Death Watch came out.
Not true.
Is my recollection.
Couldn't have been. I mean, you might have been playing fantasy, but it was already exploded at the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
But we know
I'm hosting this, Adam.
We know
also I'm reading
coming in the far
everything
future.
that exists for fantasy. Go ahead.
We do know the old world is coming in the far future. It's a thing. It's going to happen. We don't know when. We don't know what scale, but it should.
We do know the scale. It's going to be the same. Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be Games Workshop scale, the predominant Games Workshop scale right now. And I know this from 3D printing. This is one of my favorite anecdotes. Is actually 32 millimeter. Everything is 32 millimeter now.
Oh, wow.
That's why you can take Space Marine heads from Firstborns and put them on Primaris Marines because they scaled the body correctly. It used to be a 32 millimeter head on a 28 millimeter body.
There we go.
that's literally what heroic scale is.
Well,
telling the world.
So we do know old world fantasy, whatever, will eventually drop. But what's coming very soon is the Codex Demons. Do we have any like rules that we want to like leak? Maybe Adam, you know something that you want to share about Codex Demons? Anything of interest?
What's the scuttlebutt here, pal?
It can be a rumor. It can be whatever the hell you want.
I hear you can charge from 6 inches away from Deep Strike. That's the one that I'm hearing a little whispery birdies being like, oh, guess what you can do, blah, blah, blah. I won't give you any context of what enables that or whatnot. I've got some little tidbits, but apparently it's the thing demons can do, be like Deep Strike 6 inches away and go for a charge, which sounds like a huge activator for that army because there's nothing worse for demons right now than having to deploy their stuff on the table.
Yeah. Cool. So
I wonder if they're going to do more delination like they have with AOS, like how all of the various flavors of Chaos Demon and AOS are like very distinct armies. Yeah. So I wonder if we're gonna get some like more of those ranges ported in. Thank you, camera. Really appreciate it. More of those ranges coming in and like integrated a bit more into 40K.
You are now a 90s music film clip, by the way, Val.
Dude, right?
Like, when you're going for the...
It's actually a special effect, guys.
Val's camera's totally getting blurry, and he's just rocking it, but that's cool.
One of the things I really wanted from this codex was to see having a exclusive monofaction bonus for should you build a multi-god.
Cool. Yeah.
I actually wanted a tiered faction bonus section, as in like you get one buff for taking demons of any stripe, like you can take 4 gods in the same thing, get 1 buff, and then have it get more powerful but tier down the less gods you take. Like it gets more watered down the more gods are represented in your army, but then gets stronger the less.
I kind of like that.
I'm pretty sure it's not the case, but I thought it would have been really powerful, really interesting way to do it.
You know what that's going to turn up though, right? That's going to turn up in a supplement. I promise you that.
Oh
right?
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
That's where it'll be at, right? If it's going to happen, it's going to be in a supplement. We did get free rules for Kill Team this week, so that's kind of cool, right? I mean, I was just talking pre-show. Hey, I want to start playing Kill Team. Now the rules are free on the Warhammer community site, which is nice because they're the updated current rules, at least for the basic mode of play. So that's exciting. Speaking of rules, guys, we're letting our audience, if you're in chat right now, if you're listening on their drive home, whatever, for next week and all future weeks, submit your favorite rules hack, janky rule combo thing you like so that we can share it with the world. This is just a new thing we're doing. Yeah, we're just doing this, Mr. Director. We're just bringing it in. It's a new segment.
That seems counter the spirit of the game.
Oh. Well, they can be fun rules. So, here's one that I think is really fun. The Corsairs, the Eldar Corsairs that no one brings, or no, not really many people bring. they're legitimately pretty decent because they kind of have like mini Hail of Doom built into them, which is surprisingly powerful. On Cruise Hammer this past week, my guys took down Abaddon. Like, well, yeah, just deal with it. Boom, because of that auto wound to hit on a 6. So just sharing fun little things. Send me a message on Facebook. Find us, email us, send us a carrier pigeon. Fun little random rule hack jank stuff that you want to share.
Let's talk about I mean, I can accept that. I can accept that. But stuff that is not like needs to be interpreted using the Rosetta Stone in order to determine whether or not it's legal. One more thing I want to call out, because I think this is probably continues to be the coolest line of models being released by Games Workshop on a consistent basis. I think we got a little preview of these guys, freaking jet bike dudes.
Dude, so cool. So
ladies,
cool.
actually.
Yeah, these are the Necromunda. Come on, what are their names?
Escher?
Escher. That's a House Escher. I think they call it cut bikes or something. Basically, just giant engines with women riding them and guns and stuff. Yeah, Cutter. They're a Cutter.
So yeah, the Mad Max Necromunda looking cool. If any of you has a cousin or something that like plays it, like reach out, let us know how is this game.
Yeah.
Do we have it at do we have like a Necromunda event at any of our events?
Not yet. There was somebody offering to do it, but Necromunda is kind of unique that it's like a campaign system, right?
Oh, yeah.
So to try and do a
We're
1
there
or 2
for
day
3
thing,
days.
I guess you could try and do a 3 day thing. You know what that'd be great for? Cruise Hammer. Just saying. Just saying.
You and your Cruise Hammer.
I just came off of Cruise Hammer, guys. It's top of mind right now. Can we show the brand new FLG terrain that we just released? This is the stuff that we've.
Is that what I almost showed before?
That's what you almost showed over. Yeah,
this
right there.
thing?
Whoa. Okay, yeah. So we first kind of snuck this in at the Lone Star Open, and now it's going to be up for order, up for ordering right about. Wait for it now. Go to the website. You can get it, and it comes in not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 awesome colors. You can kind of cycle through them, Val. If you're listening to our podcast, you're totally missing out because you can see the color there. We got it in black, red, green, blue, pink, purple, all the. I don't know if we have purple.
No, we're clicking add title on this one.
Yeah,
click
add title. Yeah, I didn't edit the PowerPoint. Yeah. But all the colors for all your wonderful favorite Chaos Demon gods. So if you are, and this everyone has said is the most competitive terrain we've ever made. It was designed for 9th edition, so it is ready to rock, and you can get it
ready for 10th. Perfect.
Ready for 10th. Do you guys want to just jump real back into previous event headlines? I'm just going to do that real fast. Cruise Hammer happened last week, guys. This was, Cruise Hammer Frontline Gaming's event at sea. Our winner was Mr. Brian Horton. He is the Atlantic City Open judge. Yeah. He kicked my ass round 1 with his beautifully painted nids. I was basically tabled, and I went and cried in my cabin for the rest of the day. But it was a fun game despite losing. Favorite army was Carapain with her knights. These knights were epic knights. And then best sportsman was Benjamin with orcs. I had an awesome game playing against him as well. It was one of those games, the game that was so much fun. Like I just had so much fun playing this dude that I actually forgot who won because we were just giggling the entire time. So a really fun time on this cruise. I should probably say that that if you're interested in this, it's definitely happening again next year, and it's happening out of New York, New Jersey area, and it'll be a 7-day cruise going down the Caribbean. If you buy your ticket now, you get $100 to spend on ship for free. So woohoo! Cruise Hammer though is something there's a photo of the swag. You make your friends. That's friends there and everything. It was
these friends. Who are these guys? We used to see these guys all the time.
That's if you're watching right now, that's Reese, Frankie, and myself all hanging out, not working, just rolling dice and hanging out after after.
Well, Reese and Frankie aren't working.
Reese and Frankie were not. Well, no, they were working a little bit on the ship. But Frankie played the tournament. Reese did not. He played some Game of Thrones, but he did not play the 40K. But it was fun. It was just really cool to go hang out with the whole Frontline Gaming crew. So I highly encourage you guys to consider it next year. My wife and my son joined me, and they had a great time. So I'm playing 40K. My wife's at the spa or at the pool, and my son's at like the play kid area. So it was a pretty great family trip.
Now, Adam, I have a question. Do they have cruises in Australia?
Yeah, we have lots of cruises.
I was gonna say, like, I've never heard of anyone going down under for a cruise. But I guess you could do a little whistle stop tour up the east coast of Australia is probably pretty long.
But you could probably make it to some of the islands, right? I mean, like the South.
That's like an Atlantic Ocean away from Australia. Though.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm bad with geography, and that's.
You can do. I think there's Pacific Island cruises up through Samoa and.
There we go.
all that area, Cook Islands, parts of New Zealand, lots of cruises around there too. Some very, very beautiful places. I mean, there's a big, I don't know if you call it. The only cruise I've ever been on was the chunder-inducing one from Melbourne to Tasmania. Where
so isn't that more of a ferry?
It's exactly right. I was about to say it's not really a cruise; it's a ferry. It's to get from
open bar and pools on
it's
board.
It's through the Bass Strait, which is notoriously pretty choppy. And I once went on that thing, and the only people who didn't throw up were the staff, my mother, and one other dude. It's a harrowing part of my childhood right there.
Oh, well, I am pleased to say I didn't see a single one of the Cruise Hammer attendees vomiting during the event. That they may have, but I didn't see it.
Now you're selling tickets.
Yeah, now I'm selling
Absolutely.
tickets, man. There we go. Honestly, though, man, it was such a great week to be able to hang out with your 40K family and your actual blood family. It was a good time. We should talk about the Las Vegas team tournament, guys. We updated the packet literally 45 minutes ago. The Las Vegas team tournament packet now has the missions in there as well as the deadlines. You guys have been bombarding us, asking us for those missions so that you can adjust your teams. Yeah, nerds, right? They really care about this stuff. No, it's really, really cool. This event's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see teams from around the country coming. We got like #Wrecked from SoCal. That's some of our judges' teams, and we've got Colorado's got 2 teams coming together. They got like the Mile High A team and Mile High B team. I don't know. So
Dice Check going out. We got some FLGN folks heading out there.
Yeah. So it's
Adam, what do you think? They've moved to the 20-0 system. How do you feel about that?
Ooh, yes, Mr. Adam.
They needed to. Absolutely needed to. The whole world needs to fall in line, baby. WWDC just happened. The level have been set. The expectations of the people are now known. Fall into line. It's the way to play teams. It's always been kind of the way it's been cultivated and grown over well over a decade of testing has gone into that system, and it works.
And it sounded like Vince McMahon wrote that talking point. I feel like they're going to go upside my head with the Croatian lawn chair. Moving on.
Tamagotchi Express made a call. It's Adam from the top rope with the lawn chair, and I was freaking cracked up. It's
great. We've also, Adam, you helped call this last year. Boom, SoCal Open 2022, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Given the opportunity, I will help call it again. Should that be happening?
Sweet. It's not an opportunity. It is just a thing. You're doing it.
Bang bang.
Assuming you're showing. I mean, it's more if you're showing up. I think it's a bigger question.
It's a requirement. You got to be there. You got to be there.
He'll be there via this type of a thing, and by the end, almost clinically dead. That's how we do it with Adam.
It's gonna be worth it. Every time it's gonna be worth it.
We make it. One day he's gonna go see his doctor. He says, Adam, you gotta stop with the streaming. You're not gonna
Shut up. You don't know me.
and just wanted to, I know this is mainly 40K folks here, but if you're waiting for MCP tickets at LVO and Age of Sigmar tickets, we just added some. We made some space. So yeah, MCP is gonna be massive at LVO, and Age of Sigmar will be by far the largest Age of Sigmar tournament in the world ever. So if you're waiting for those tickets, we just added about 100 of each of those. So get them while you can, because we're not adding more after that. After that, it's done. All right, let's talk about the FLGN. Val, what's going on with the FLGN? Anything of interest you want to share? This is your network, of course.
Yes, this is my network. Bow before me. No, what do we got? We had a real slobber knocker of a Grim After Dark on Monday, in which both Danny and the guest didn't show. So it was the producer and I didn't show. Down to John and Tech Priest Dicky, the linchpin of this whole operation, just chewing the fat. Having a good show. Actually, they did a good job. We have this show, and then Thursday show. Adam, what are we looking at tomorrow?
We're going to be covering Capital City Bloodbath, 100% from your neck of the woods, Val, which I think you'll be in attendance at and streaming. So I'm actually looking forward to tuning into a bit of that myself.
As a matter of fact, you're going to hear it here first, folks. We're going to be co-streaming FLGN with TSN, the T-Sport Network. Ooh. So they'll be doing it on Twitch. We'll be on YouTube. It'll be the same feed, but 2 different platforms. You can go where you want, or even competitive 40K on Facebook, where I personally stream every FLGN thing for some reason.
I look forward to heckling you in the comments.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Yeah.
The Capital City Bloodbath is Canada's largest 40K tournament. At this point, one of the longest running ones, too, I'm sure. And it's an absolute blast. Class acts run by Canhammer, Chris Haynes, captain of Team Canada, or at least his.
So, yeah, please tune into the Thursday show this week. In addition to Capital City Bloodbath, we have another amazing event coming your way from Seoul, South Korea. They have a happening there.
Nice.
We're going to be giving you full coverage of that. In addition, we have another, I think it's a 100-player event in United States. We'll be covering. I can't quite remember the name of that one. Apologies, but yeah, we're covering that one as well.
Sweet. I love it, man. I love it. Do we want to jump into, maybe talking about the WTC a little bit more, Adam? Do you feel comfortable talking about it? Are you tired about talking about the WTC? Or can we?
Not at all. Never will be. I was there 48 hours ago, give or take.
So it's fresh in your memory. And I want you to know this is a safe place. You can say whatever the hell you want. You're uncensored, Adam Unchained. Do what we want your real, honest to God, true opinion. Was it everything? Was it worth it, man? I mean, you're flying all the way across the country, the world, basically. Absolutely, right?
100% worth it in every way, shape, or form. It was an incredible journey. I loved it. I will do it for the rest of my days if I'm allowed. Apologies, my boss is calling me.
That's okay. Tell me you're very, very busy on a show with.
Tell them to jump in chat.
I will. For those of you who do not know, the WTC is essentially the pinnacle of teams competition. Every nation that is willing to send a team of 8 players to the event can do so. It'll be in Mechelen, Belgium for the next 2 years at the same venue in the same space. They've just split off from the ETC, which the last one happened in 2019. Last time the World Championships for the teams was held there, the international competition. So they're off doing their own thing now. They need our support. They need our love to continue this amazing journey that they're on, that they're doing for us. The beautiful team, Neil, Isaac, Tom, Adriani, have given thousands of hours of their own time and dollars, to try and get this thing off the ground. And they knocked it out of the freaking park. They did such a good job, guys.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear. How many teams showed up? So I guess how many countries were represented?
I think 27. I think there's 27 nations in attendance, and then there was a United Nations team, which was essentially the Merc team put together from, I think it was 5 different countries, who I played for. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
very happy.
The 20. It's teams of 8, right? Just want to be clear, teams of 8. So you had a good chunk of people there. Sweet. Now it's time for you to grossly stereotype each country if you can. You don't have to go through all 27, but was there a country that was had the most pretty armies? Was there one that was a bunch of jackasses? Who was your favorite and worst, least favorite opponents?
I'm not going to.
We're watching photos from the event.
A lot of smeared off icing going on.
I'm definitely not going to speak badly about any nation.
Okay,
that's just
fair.
That's not how
what
I
about
play
the
it.
stinky? Come on, there must have been a stinky team. Like that team. Just, come on.
My team.
How about that? How about this? How about we go with what do you think was the biggest surprise of the WTC this year? I'm just going to queue up a little something while you talk about it.
All right, the biggest surprise.
So it wasn't who won, because I knew who was going to win. In my heart, in my soul, I knew my nation, Team Australia, was going to smash a podium at a freaking minimum. That was the team that they got sent and the team that won. What was a surprise was Australia not only winning the whole freaking thing, coming in first place, but winning best sports as well. When is that ever part of the story?
Oh, come on. You guys show up early and set up the whole thing. They gave you a special lifetime achievement award in the first year it's been held. Come on, as if it's a shot. Speaking as a Canadian who somehow, our team just barely somehow wasn't best sports. I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean. You guys were there.
That's your thing.
Maybe we needed more handies under the table, more maple syrup. Right. More maple syrup, Team Canada.
Big failure for Team Canada. Jeez.
It's absolutely correct. But the Canadians were there, right? So how do the Australians win best sport?
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
Shouldn't be a thing. In addition, when do you ever give best sport to the guys who won? Usually, when do other countries vote for best sport being somebody that put them in the ground? And guess what? Australia put everybody in the ground. Cool. It was good, with the exception of the Americans. So the United States was the draw that they got, and even the Americans got the better side of the draw. For those of you who do not know, in the 20-0 system, when 2 teams are within 10 points of each other on the 20-0 system, when all games have been added together in their totality, if you're within 10 points, it's a draw. And so you need 86 points, out of the 160 that are possible in 20-0 possible games to guarantee a win. So if you are 86, then by default they will be at 74, and you'll have more than 10 points, and it will be a win to one team or another. Now, America got that draw versus Australia. They were 3 points off. I think it was 2 or 3 points off them being a win. So it was very close. And despite that, Australia still got the W because, unfortunately, the United States went on to lose a further round versus Team Poland, I believe. And then they got a draw against Germany also. So the podium stood as Australia supreme from down under. The Thunder. Unstoppable. I love those guys. I count them all as friends. And they're
all right.
natural freaking heroes. Well, I wasn't on the team, so
I know.
It's not my victory.
You can brag.
Yeah. I can pontificate.
So
I took that photo, in fact. That photo you're seeing on the screen. I was behind that camera. I was just like...
So there's a lot more than 8 people there. So do you have like coaches or alternates or water boys?
They actually brought over 4 coaches this year, and all those gentlemen were freaking instrumental in making the win happen.
So we know Australia won number 1. Who won number 2 and 3?
Number 2 was Team Poland, who are the ever-threatening juggernaut of the entire world, having scored more podium finishes and more lodged more W's at this level of the game than any other nation on the world. So they're like perennial top
I will
fives.
say that in my miserable ETC experience, it did allow me to witness the perhaps most one-sided anything, which was Poland versus Canada. That I like, especially the game I played. It was like I don't even know what the hell was happening. We clearly didn't know. It was in Polish. Actually, our coach was Polish, and they were talking shit about me in Polish, which was a bit mean. But the Poles are incredible. Like they have a fantastic, like you say, pedigree at the WTC. Actually, the whole sort of top 5, as you're remembering through it, there are a lot of familiar countries and teams in that list. Like it was a return to form, I think, aside from Australia. I think Australia made a massive leap, which is what I was trying to get you to say.
We truly didn't. No, but sorry to say, Val, we didn't. 2019, the last ETC, and I was on that team, so I can take some credit for this performance. We played against Team England for the win. If we beat England in that last round, we were number 1.
What was the finish?
Undeniably. We ended up losing and came in 4th. So
you came in 4th, right. And the year before that, what happened?
Oh, we didn't bring in a legit team. We didn't even try to bring in a legit team.
Right. So what I'm saying here is that Australia hasn't been winning ETCs and WTCs for 10, 15 years, like say a Poland or an England or like
this is
big, man. Don't fucking pardon me. Don't like undersell how awesome this is for Australia. Like this is massive. Like you guys worked so hard to like build a franchise and like beat some like massive teams, man.
So this was the cementing of the 2019 journey. So 2018, we took a team, myself and the captain at the time, Peter. We call him Redbeard, Peter Platel. He was the captain in 2019. He came to me and said, Adam, I want you to be vice captain in 2019. We're going to take a legit team. I reckon our best are as good as anybody's best. And so me and him begged, borrowed, steal, swindled, grifted together a team of 8 absolute killers in 2019, molded them together, took them to the championships, almost won the whole damn thing. And then we had 2 false starts. We got the whole team together again. We got the mojo together. Everybody back into form to go for make a run in 2020. Bang. COVID denied us. 2021, we start coalescing again. We don't think it's going to happen, but we need to put the mojo. We need to get there. So if it does happen, we are primed because we had unfinished freaking business, boys. We were so freaking close, and it hurt so bad to put so much effort in and then not even hit the podium in 2019 that getting the hunger, getting the passion together, what they did this year, I think is a true testament to those gentlemen, what they did for their country, and they're all national freaking heroes in my eyes and hopefully the eyes of many others, because they did something that has never been done before for Australia, and they literally put us on the map, cementing the journey and putting a stamp on Australia as being an international contender. Awesome. So my absolute love and adoration to all of them.
So, like when you look at like a lot of these perennial contenders, like we were just talking about, Germany, another one. When you got even France, like a lot of these like sort of big name European countries plus Poland, like they have what I would call like real programs, like real developmental, like process driven approaches to building these teams, and like a lot of their metas revolve around it. Something I've noticed with Australia is that there is a very prevalent and developed not just team tournament scene, but 8-person team tournament scene. Do you think that plays it all into the fact that Australia has developed a lot as a nation? Is just the fact that like they've really embraced the team format in general?
So when you are a really isolated nation, like Australia is, you tend to have to look inwards for your like cutthroat competition. You have to your nation's only as strong as you're willing to make it. And the fact is, like, because all the communities of Australia are very isolated in of themselves, team competition tends to be very strong. Like we want to represent our states, we want to do our communities proud, because we do feel like at times we are like 6 or 7 individual countries within a country.
Yep.
Because
Canada feels you.
Yeah, because we're also far away from each other.
Yeah.
So we have a competition called the ATC, not to be confused with the American Team Championship. There's the Australian Team Championship, in which we have a national competition that every state of Australia sends a team of 8 players. They're the best 8 players they can meld together, and that is something that has shown us that we have the mettle to take it on the international level. The issue is getting the right players together at the right time, willing to spend what is a huge amount of money, huge amount of time, huge amount of effort to go and make a run on the international level. But because we've always had that ATC, we've always had that national level competition. There's always been this bubble, this coalescence of strong team events. We always want to
people who aspire, to
exactly,
like compete like at an intranational or international level. So as someone who's been on the ground floor of like this program getting built up over time, like if you're looking at an aspirant country like say the United States or Canada, what would you say would be like some of the things that or like heck, there's lots of countries out there that certainly have like reputable 40K metas that maybe don't show up to the ETC or maybe don't perform particularly well there. What do you think some of the keys to developing a good national program are that people could learn from Australia to like maybe one day do the same?
So Australia tends to play exactly the same standard. So one of the things we do, so our prep for ATC is very similar to our prep for ETC, as in like we have a full suite of pairings matrix that we do usually sometimes as a team, discussing pairings, like think tanking different matchups. And when we have a problem matchup, we call it flipping the matchup. As in, you'll see what is conventionally called a red. So there's a traffic light system upon which you will grade the different matchups you might come into at a certain tournament. So for this year, for playing for Warhammer United, I graded every team at the event. Every 8-pack of team, I'd go through. I'm going to get only 2 points versus their sisters because that's a red matchup, or I'm going to get 7-8 points versus their Hail of Doom because that's a green matchup. 8 points being converted on the 20 system to a 16, so you just double it. So you go and you traffic light them. That is the biggest skill check you have for a team's player, but making that information as accurate as possible, because that is interpreted by your captain or your pairings coaches to being what matchups they try and get you and what can be expected from you should you get into those matchups. And so big issue there is a lot of teams coming out of COVID don't have the experience or the nuance, possibly, especially with Nephilim changes coming in so close to the start date, to get that data true and correct and as plumb as possible so you can get into the right matchups and get the right results. And so a lot of the time, teams like Australia, we're kind of renowned for this now. We will take a list that we think is a red matchup into a certain matchup, and we will put 100 games into making it so that's no longer a red matchup for us. It's either a yellow, as in a neutral 10-10 draw game, or even flipped into something we're going to win, because we build in a couple of pieces of tech, a couple of little ways to play you may not think are conventional, like reserving a bunch of stuff or forward deploying and full yeeting, or playing a very stable stay in your deployment zone game, and we'll find the path to victory. And those are the games that win and lose you rounds at WTC, because if everybody just gets their predicted score, it's essentially just who paired better wins. Whereas that's not the case in the top end.
Those matchups.
The top end is all about flipping the matchups, taking the expected score that your opponents put in and making sure that is incorrect, because it's not the one that you're going to get. And so that's where the skill checks of team play really come in, and it's so hard to do, guys. It's so hard to do consistently. It's so hard to do at such a top level as well.
So you're saying basically in the US, if we need to get more team tournaments so that people can get more practice, because this is obviously a skill set. This is something that needs to get practice. You can't just show up at the WTC and hope to master this. You need practice. Well,
what would you say is something that would be like a massive factor, like in specifically the WTC, that's like maybe above the tabletop, or sort of like outside of it, that would be surprising to a 40K player that it was so important? Like like a team role, or maybe like one of the procedures in like setting up the pairings?
I think the coaches. I think the coaches is the thing that can really define a team at times. A team without a coach is essentially like playing blind, playing deaf, playing dumb. As in, like, you will just play. If you without a coach, you are just playing your opponent. You have no knowledge of how the rest of your team is doing. If you need to stabilize your score, if you need to ensure you get a minimum amount to get you over the line or to go for a draw, the coach really defines. I guess it takes 8 games and turns them into 1 game.
Right.
8 individual games become a unit, becomes a team by dint of the role of the coach. The coach walks the lines. I call it walking the lines, as in you work the lines of the team, of you versus their opponents, and they'll be like, you got to push. We're going to this one's getting flipped. You have to go and get this score for us. We're up. Don't take any risks. Stabilize. Make sure you don't get blown out, and we're going to coast to a win, etc., etc. And that's the little bits of information that will allow you to play as a unit rather than playing as like 8 individuals. And so I think that the role of the coach and having a good proficient coach is a real defining factor for a lot of successful teams.
Yeah. Cool. And like even just we'll go to you, Kicker, but like even just noticing this, there's 13 people in this photo. Maybe one guy in the middle not supposed to be there.
One guy in the middle is the French interviewer.
There you go. So there you go. So there's a dozen people for an 8-person team. So you got like one support person for every 2 players.
Every two people.
Yeah, that's getting there.
Thank you very much to those boys for Team Australia. That's 4 guys who gave up thousands of dollars in order to go there and coach, and I think that's amazingly awesome of them. So much love to them too, because they're a big part of that win.
Kicker.
Yeah, let's jump into the ITC recap real fast. Do we want to do this? Do we have time for it? Save it for another night.
Is it okay if I apologize?
You gotta go.
Okay
Get out of here, bud.
Thank
you for the conversation. Please get out of here.
Getting all up in my business.
We've noticed, and I kept asking you questions regardless because I'm ruthless like that. Thank you so much for coming, Adam. Bye, buddy. And apparently, Kicker would like to wrap up the show too. I'm just having a nice time.
You're just doing it. Well, I have a schedule. It is my job to stick to the schedule. Do we want to talk about the ITC recap or save it for next week? Your call.
You know what? Why don't you host? Why don't we just flip the script a little bit here? Why don't you just host the whole thing?
Well, generally, I don't read any of the names because I butcher them tremendously.
Okay, I'll read the names.
All right, you read the names. Although I don't think are these accurate? I don't know.
Yes, I updated them. I updated them.
Okay, so I'm trusting you on this one then.
This is the thing, and we can bring this back in the background. So here we go with the Warhammer 40,000 ITC International Top 5. David Gaylard, Vic Vijay, Manny Chima, Jack Harpster, and Thomas Ogden rounding out the top 5. Moving on,
like an entire Euro invasion to it looks like America is back up top with Thomas.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's Jack Harpster as well, but there's still a very good UK assortment. I'd love to see one of the current stat shows do some projecting for me. I'd love to see, like, knowing what we know with the available potential scores out there, like, can the U.S. catch up? Who's actually in the hunt for this thing? Maybe someone involved in 40K journalism, who maybe the head of a network should figure out some way to do that.
Are you into that stuff? Didn't you have a stat show at one point? I mean,
I did. We brought it back for 5 minutes before I realized, good God, it's a lot of work. All right, moving on. We got the Warhammer 40K hobby track. We got Lee Steger, Jacob Thayer, JT Steger. I'm wondering if that's too I don't know. I was suspicious there. Jason Bird or Boyd and Jamie Brazzolo. Rounding out the Warhammer 40K hobby track. Anything you got to say about that? You got any favorites in there, Kicker?
I mean, Jacob's one of our hobby goblin guys that helped set up, and he'll be helping set up. He and his whole crew of 10 guys will be setting up LVO. So you can thank them, buy them a beer, whatever. If you see them in LVO, they'll be wearing very bright green hobby goblin shirts.
Okay, so moving on, Age of Sigmar, ITC top 5. Age of Sigmar, getting so hot right now, warming up. The LVO AOS is shaping up to be like apparently just a monster AOS event. Is that right, Kicker?
Dude, it's going to be insane. We're probably going to break 350, 360 for it.
That's awesome. That's like LVO size when old Val entered the scene. So that's something, man. Next thing you know, AOS is going to be over 1,000. So maybe one of these will be a future AOS legend of the game. Gavin Grigar, Anthony Trentinelli, Thomas Juan, Jeremy Vessier, and Matt Beasley. rounding out the top five.
Gavin's in the lead. Gavin won ITC last year for Age of Sigmar, so he's kicking butt.
Well, there you go, Gav on a tear. And then finally, Age of Sigmar Hobby Track. You got to know these are good-looking armies. We've got Robert Snyder, Evan Markham, Matt Abbott, Matt Beasley. So he's got both. He's got skill and artistic skill.
Yeah.
And Ricky Fisher rounding out the top five Age of Sigmar Hobby Track. How was that reading for you, Kicker?
Dude, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And I think you're giving Seth a run for his money on this. I mean, you read that beautifully. Yeah, I think you said Jamie Perizzoli. It sounded kind of Italian, but you got it with the accent there. It was perfect. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to pronounce it, but it sure sounded sexy. So good job, man.
Hey, Pirazzolo.
Yeah, there we go. That's it.
That's
it. Add that to the soundboard.
Pirozzolo?
Yeah, that's how I would have.
Is there a Pirozzolo? Like Jamie Pirozzolo here?
That's why I don't read the names. All right, Val, this has been wonderful. Do you have any words of wisdom you want to grace our audience with?
No, first of all, I just big thank you to Adam Camalleri for continuing his streak of probably somewhere around 48 hours of being on the internet talking about Warhammer 40,000. And also just WTC. Someone asked about the level of competition in the WTC versus something like the LVO. They are very different beasts. But there's no question about the fact that the level and degree of preparedness and effort and work that goes into each one of these WTC teams, even the guys who maybe don't get the results that they were looking for, they still work their butts off to get there. Not saying singles events people aren't working hard, but the WTC definitely brings the level of competition to, I think, something that's pretty special. And hopefully in the future we can watch it live. We'd love to see that.
Maybe we need to get the FLG in there next year because
who knows?
They could probably use that.
We'll have to sort it out. Last thing I want to say, of course, tune in live this weekend starting, I believe, 9 a.m. EST here on the FLGN live coverage from Capital City Bloodbath, commentated by the one, the only, Peter the Falcon Colosimo. That's right. He's live on the scene. I'll be out putting my foot in my mouth repeatedly as the in the field reporter who knows pretty much nothing about Warhammer 40,000 at this point. Kicker, you got anything else you want to say before you wrap it up?
No, man. Thank you for jumping in for Seth and bringing Adam on as well. It was a great show. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you guys next week. You want to take us out, Val? Good night, guys.